Hello everyone and welcome to my Y&R Insider 24 update channel. Jack's tranquility, Nick's search, Audra's painful reminder. Spoilers for Friday, October 17th, 2025, from The Young and the Restless are in. Nick Newman, played by Joshua Morrow, is expected to seek clarification. Zuleika Silva's Audra Charles experiences a harrowing flashback to her past. In addition, Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, and Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, clear the air. Continue reading to learn more about the upcoming episodes of the CBS soap opera. Be sure to check out the spoilers for our weekly Y&R here. Nick Newman's hunt. Let's begin with Noah Newman, Lucas Adams, who will undergo surgery and enter a medically induced coma. However, when Nick and Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, met with Detective Burrows, Matt Cohen, he mentioned that it appeared as though Noah had been run off the road and continued on. The interesting part comes next. Audra once mentioned that she was afraid of Holden's risky fun. Then there's Claire Grace Newman, Haley Erin, who said that Holden had been driving really quickly the night before. Is it possible that Holden was the one who caused Noah's injuries and just kept driving? Read more. Find out what transpired in the most recent Y&R episode. Nick will look for answers regardless. When Nick found out that his son had been the target, the look in his eyes couldn't have been more accurate. So, Nick is going to tell Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, about this and see if they can track down the culprit. Jack Abbott dispels the mystery. He tries to talk Billy out of the situation over with Jack. Billy, on the other hand, has always been extremely entitled, impulsive, and has issues with anger. Billy should just relax and listen to Jack speak. After all, working together increases its chances of defeating Billy Flynn's Kane Ashby. I wonder what the implications are for the businesses now that Kane is attempting to redeem his reputation. Read, Y&R early week spoilers, Victoria's Chase, Claire's Danger, and Kane Tempted. October 20th to 24th, the harrowing reminder of Audra Charles. According to The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Friday, October 17th, Audra will be confronted with a traumatic flashback to her past. This could be the time when Audra finds out that Noah was in a terrible crash. Despite the fact that they ended their relationship a long time ago, Audra always appeared to still care for him. Consequently, I wonder if she will be compelled to travel to Los Angeles. She might be kicked out of that hospital right away if she does. The danger of Claire Grace Newman. It's also possible that Claire will face difficulties despite Holden's preference for the fast lane. If she hasn't already, could she get involved in a situation that she will later regret? Audra's sad day and Nick's urgent mission. Spoilers for Friday, October 17th's episode of The Young and the Restless, Y&R, reveal that Billy Abbott, played by Jason Thompson, and Jack Abbott, played by Peter Bergman, have a crucial conversation, that Nick Newman, played by Joshua Morrow, launches an investigation, and that Audra Charles, played by Zuleika Silva, has yet another bad day. Jack and Billy, brothers, are hot and cold, and they've been cold to one another recently. The mature one, Jack, tries to squash beef on Friday's Y&R episode. Can Jack communicate with Billy? Billy Flynn is told by Jack that they must reconnect in order to defeat Kane Ashby, the outcast of the town. What reaction will Billy have to common sense? It ought to be fascinating. Billy may not be receptive because he is shocked. Courtney hopes Sally Spectra, his girlfriend, asked his mother, Jill Abbott, Jess Walton, to fund their business behind his back. Jack may throw his 2 cents in on this disagreement. Noah is in a dangerous area. The majority of GC is hanging out in Los Angeles. Sadly, Noah Newman, Lucas Adams, who was in a car accident and is currently in a coma, became a victim of the adventure. Nick takes it upon himself to investigate this tragedy after Detective Burrow, Matt Cohen, made hints of foul play. Before hitting a ravine, Noah's car may have been run off the road, according to reports. Nick may attempt to obtain additional information by speaking with the witness who reported the accident because the driver fled the scene. Can Noah's fate be ascertained by Nick? Nick is driven to find out who hurt Noah because Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, is distraught over her son's situation. Sharon and Nick are concerned that Noah may continue to be in danger, even though Detective Burrow promises to solve the difficult case. Audra's past comes back to haunt her elsewhere. Audra's history is troublesome. Audra may have an old flame for Noah because she was Noah's former girlfriend. Will old feelings come back when she finds out what happened in Los Angeles? According to Juicy the Young and the Restless spoilers, Noah and Audra may reunite at some point, which will rock GC to its core. Catch up on everything that's going on with the Young and the Restless right now by watching it all again. Get comfy and gain access to the best soap information available online by checking back frequently for the most recent Y&R news, spoilers, and updates. Jack's tranquility, Audra's painful reminder, and Nick's search. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, October 17, 2025 say that the day will be filled with raw emotion, long-awaited battles, and uncomfortable truths. Genoa City residents find themselves standing at crossroads, each facing ghosts from their past and dilemmas that could forever alter their futures. The main focus is on Nick Newman's, Joshua Morrow, never-ending search for the truth about Noah's car accident, and Audra Charles, Zuleika Silva, is haunted by memories she thought she had buried for good. Meanwhile, Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, and Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, make significant progress toward reconciliation by settling their differences. This demonstrates that even in a town rife with betrayal, forgiveness can sometimes prevail. The constant search for answers by Nick Newman. Even though Nick Newman has been through tragedy before, this one is different. Noah Newman, played by Lucas Adams, is in a hospital bed, hooked up to machines, breathing through tubes, and having a faint pulse beneath a web of wires. Nick's mind was taunted by the sterile antiseptic smell and the monitor's rhythmic beeping, which served as a reminder that his son had been intentionally hurt. Noah's surgery went as planned, but the doctors had to put him in a medically induced coma to control the swelling in his brain and keep him from getting hurt again. Since the news broke, Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, has barely been able to sleep. Her eyes are swollen from crying, and her voice shakes whenever she whispers the name of her son. Matt Cohen plays Detective Burrows, who walks into the waiting room with a clipboard in hand and the grim expression of a man who is aware that what he is about to say will only exacerbate their suffering. He explains that the evidence from the crash site suggests Noah was not only unfortunate, but also that someone ran him off the road. Witness statements, tire marks, and pieces of paint from another vehicle suggest that it wasn't just an accident. The driver never made a stop. The car sped off, disappearing like a ghost into the night. Nick clenches his jaw and flashes that familiar Newman fire in his eyes, the same tenacity that once destroyed foes and built empires. However, this is not business. Blood is here. He will not rest until he determines who was behind the attack on his son. Fearing that Nick's rage will send him spiraling into perilous territory, Sharon holds onto his arm. However, she comprehends his fury. Nick's desire to safeguard his family is as strong as ever in a world where justice frequently moves too slowly. Holden Novak. The unknown danger. Fans are left to wonder whether Holden Novak, Nathan Owens, is connected to this tragedy as Nick begins to piece together the pieces of what happened. Holden's charm and charisma have begun to flake in recent episodes, revealing a darker, more unpredictable side. Audra once confessed that Holden's concept of dangerous fun used to scare her, a chilling statement that is now much more significant. Holden, on the other hand, was recently described as driving really fast the other night by Claire Grace Newman, Haley Erin. It seemed like a random comment at the time, a glimpse into his need for adrenaline. However, it seems gloomy now that Noah's crash has occurred. Is it possible that Holden was the one driving Noah's car off the road, either accidentally or intentionally? Although Nick isn't one to jump to conclusions, he can't ignore the coincidences when he puts these puzzle pieces together. Nick quickly ropes in Victor Newman, Eric Braden, when Holden's name starts to spread quietly among the Newman family. The room is filled with tension as Nick explains the theory to the patriarch, who remains silent. The calculating, lethal gaze that has frightened adversaries for decades narrows Victor's eyes. Victor Newman exacts and methodically exacts vengeance when his family is threatened. The Newmans may also be getting ready for a war that Holden has no idea he is about to start now that Nick is by his side. Sharon's weakness in strength. Sharon struggles to maintain her composure as Nick acts out his rage. Every maternal instinct and traumatic experience she has ever had come back to her as she watches her child in a coma. The thought of losing another child is unbearable because she has already lost so much, including Cassie, her sanity, and her peace. She sits next to Noah's bed and whispers stories about his childhood in the hope that her voice can get through the sedation. Faith Newman, played by Raylyn Caster, is distraught and emotional when she arrives at the hospital. The reunion between Sharon, Nick, and Faith is heartbreaking, a reminder that even in their fractured state, the Newmans remain a family forged by both love and tragedy. They shed more than just grief. They also make a vow that whoever did this to Noah will be held accountable. The harrowing reminder of Audra Charles, on the other side of town, receives the shocking news of Noah's accident. It's as if time stops when she hears his name. Though their romance ended long ago, the memories never truly faded. Audra was treated with genuine tenderness by Noah, one of the few individuals who could see past her ambition and bravado. The thought that he might die without her ever making peace is unbearable. Losing him once was painful. What if Audra had kept in touch, checked in, and warned him about Holden's reckless behavior? Her mind races with guilt. She tries to keep these thoughts out of her head, but she can't. When she learns that Detective Burrows suspects foul play, something inside her cracks. She recalls Holden's thrilling and perilous experiences, as well as the times when he pushed boundaries just to feel alive. She had always thought it was excitement, but she knew it was something more sinister. She scrolls through her phone with shaking hands, hovering over Noah's contact before realizing he is unable to respond. She is tempted to make an immediate reservation for a flight to Los Angeles, but she is aware that turning up uninvited could reopen old wounds. She has never been able to forgive Sharon for the way things ended with Noah, and Nick probably would throw her out at first sight. But her heart won't let her leave. Audra Charles is on her way to Los Angeles, and her arrival could cause more than just grief, whether through guilt or love. Jack Abbott dispels the mystery. The Abbotts experience a rare moment of clarity while the Newmans are engulfed in chaos and suffering. For months, Jack Abbott has been struggling with the tension in his family. His love-rivalry relationship with Billy has always been complicated. Jack is aware, deep down, that the brothers need each other more than ever right now, despite the fact that they have fought over business, loyalty, and even moral ground. Billy's rage has returned, and his anger has turned into reckless decisions as a result of his frustration with corporate maneuvering and personal insults. Jack decides that it's time to be kind because he's tired of fighting. He goes to society to meet Billy in hopes that they can finally talk to each other. At first, Billy crosses his arms defensively and his eyes flash with skepticism, creating a tense atmosphere. After taking a deep breath, Jack acknowledges his errors. He's been too in control, too dismissive, and too sure that his way is always right. He acknowledges that Billy's instincts, while occasionally impulsive, frequently originate from genuine concern for Jabbo and the family. Billy is not accustomed to hearing humility from his brother, so the words surprise him. Billy stops reacting for the first time in a long time and listens instead. The brothers find a fragile peace as the conversation progresses. Billy Flynn, played by Jack, is reminded by Jack that Billy's character, Kane Ashby, is working to restore his reputation and may soon become a formidable business rival. The Abbotts will need unity rather than rivalry if they want to keep Jabbo strong. Billy gives a nod, possibly realizing that family, despite its flaws, is more important than ego. The Abbott brothers have, at least for the time being, come to an agreement. Kane Ashby's shadow looms. In Genoa City, Kane's name continues to be mentioned in both personal and professional circles. He was once disgraced, but now he is quietly working toward redemption. However, in this town, retribution frequently comes at a price. Rumor has it Kane's been making calls to overseas investors, possibly plotting a new venture that could directly challenge Chancellor Winters or even Jabbo. Because Jack has this suspicion, he is attempting to get Billy's early cooperation. However, Kane's subsequent actions may also have an impact on Holden Novak's situation, particularly if Holden's name is mentioned in connection with Noah's crash. Genoa City has a way of tying its problems together, and just like in a soap opera, one scandal always follows another. The looming threat to Claire Grace Newman is caught in an emotional storm of her own making while Holden Novak is still under scrutiny. She has been intrigued by Holden's ability to push boundaries and his charm as well as his danger. However, recent events have forced her to question her knowledge of him. In the episode on Friday, Claire begins to notice Holden's inconsistent behavior. He dodges questions about where he was the night of Noah's accident and gets angry when she asks him questions. She tries to make sense of it at first, thinking that maybe he was just stressed or that it was just her imagination. However, she is overcome with dread when she discovers a scratch on his vehicle that resembles the damage that Detective Burrows described. Claire's entire world could crumble if Holden is to blame for Noah's crash, whether by accident or intent. She would have been involved in the cover-up as well as be dating the man who nearly killed her cousin. An agonizing moral conflict ensues when her love for her family and devotion to Holden clash violently. As Claire wrestles with her conscience, fans can anticipate an increase in tension. Will she go up against Holden? Or will she attempt to safeguard him out of concern for what might transpire if Victor and Nick discover the truth first? She could be destroyed by either choice. The calculated vengeance of Victor Newman. Victor is the calm, icy, and deadly figure who stands in front of every Newman crisis. Victor begins to gather resources after hearing Nick's theory about Holden's involvement. Within a matter of hours, private investigators are sent out, financial records are retrieved, and Holden's life is scrutinized. Victor's strategy is control, not just retaliation. Before the police arrive, he wants to control the situation. Justice becomes personal when Victor Newman takes action. He promises Nick that the family will receive answers and face consequences regardless of who is responsible. Nick is thankful for his father's support, but he is concerned that Victor's version of justice might become violent. Nick's rage grows, however, as the days go on and Noah remains unconscious. He begins to comprehend the rationale behind his father's actions. The Newman family sometimes cannot afford mercy. Emotional repercussions in Genoa City. The emotional landscape of Genoa City is raw and fractured by the episode's end. Sharon prays quietly as she sits by Noah's bedside. Nick looks out the window at his reflection in the city lights and recalls the numerous instances in which he failed to safeguard the people he cares about. Sharon's icy glare greets Audra as she reluctantly and emotionally arrives at the hospital. Jack and Billy quietly acknowledge that the Abbott family's peace is as fragile as glass as they leave society with a tentative truce. Kane's next move is a mystery, but everyone keeps talking about him. Holden Novak also can't be seen looking at a broken headlight in a dimly lit apartment across town. He removes the evidence without realizing that his secrets are getting closer and closer to him. Conclusion: a tight town.